Hi, friends. Doc South with you, and I think my most recent video, I was telling you about a ghost we had in the apartment my first wife Molly and I lived in. Oh gosh, back in the day, this was the late '60s, early '70s, something like that. Um, and yeah, no, as near as we can tell, it was a female ghost and really no harm to anyone, just actually kind of fun to have around. But I remember we also had cats, and I believe that ghost used to like to play with one of the cats we had, a little guy named Ed. Ed was, well, I helped Ed be born. Yeah, his when his mom, I think Shadowfax. It was either Shadowfax or Beetlebum. Well, we had two female black cats, and one of them got pregnant and had kittens. I forget exactly which one. I want to say Beetlebum did. Beetle. And it was her first litter, and she was having trouble, I think, figuring out the umbilical cord thing. And I was worried, gee, what do we do if she doesn't take care of the umbilical cord? So I called the vet. The vet said, well, it's easy. He says, just get some thread, tie a little piece of thread to shut off like a tourniquet would be. He says, just tie it off with the thread on one end, then tie it off again on the other side, maybe a quarter inch, a half inch from the other thread, and then just snip with the scissors in the middle. And he says it'll be fine. He says chances are it'll be okay anyway, but because right, he said it's a very thin cord. I said, God, it's like a thread itself. It's not very thick. And he said, well, just do that, and it eventually falls off anyway. So he says, just do what you can. That way, at least you separate the cat from the mom. And Ed was one of the first out of his mom, and so I had to snip him, bring him into the world, and then his sisters. I think the rest were sisters that came. But Ed was a little guy, a gray tabby. Yeah, he was a gray tabby, and I forget how the colors of the other his sisters. The rest, I believe, were sisters. And but Ed, grew through kittenhood and was actually a very nice cat. Um, he was the cat I think I've told you about in an earlier video. He was the one that when we all moved up to Forksville, Pennsylvania, Ed was the cat that would follow me down to the Loyalsock Creek. I'd go out in hip waders with my fishing pole to catch, a trout, and Ed would be bawling and yelling and screaming at the on the shoreline, and I'd have to come to shore. He'd take a flying leap and land on my chest, and then crawl with his claws out, which was great in a t-shirt, and he'd sit on my shoulder and purr while I fished out in the middle of the stream. I swear he did that. He never fell off, and that was his favorite thing to do, was to sit there and oh my God, all the purring in my ear. Ay, ay, ay. He was a good cat. But I remember in that house in Chester, where we had the ghost, I told you about in an earlier video. The ghost would play with him. I don't think he was afraid of the ghost, but somehow he saw the ghost, and the ghost would chase him. Yeah. One thing Ed especially liked to do was to grab a stick in the big long thin hallway that was in part of the apartment, and he'd run down the hallway chasing the other end of the stick. Yeah, you had to get him a stick that had it was the stick, a little bit of a side branch, and then a bigger branch or a leaf with a leaf on it, preferably on the other end. And Ed would put the stick in his mouth and then chase after the leaf. Of course, he'd never catch it because he was always 1 foot behind it. Yeah. But he'd do that all day. And all of a sudden, one day, I noticed he's running down the hallway, and he didn't have his stick. And I'm looking. I said, Ed, what's going on? Where's your stick? And he's running. It's like he's running for his life. He's looking over his shoulder, and I'm pretty sure it was the ghost was chasing him, because he'd turn around and and like he was play fighting, and then and then the ghost would chase him down the other side, and he'd be looking again over his shoulder, running. And the two of them would do that for 10, 15, 20 minutes, just having a ball. And I guess that's what was going on. It sure seemed like it. And old Ed was, I'm not sure if the ghost didn't have anything in her hand chasing him with it, like a thread or a ribbon or something, but she was after him. I don't know if I don't think he was really afraid of her, but I don't think he quite understood what it was all about. And so that was some house. Yeah, well, it's just sort of how it goes, I guess. But good old Ed. Oh, Lord have mercy. He was a good cat. Eventually, he ran into some critter bigger than him down in the basement of our house up in Pensy, and there was a fight, and Ed got killed. I don't know just what the other critter could be. I'm thinking maybe a fairly large rat, maybe something like that. Maybe it got in there, but or heaven knows, a fox maybe. Possums sometimes like living in basements, and or at least we had some that did, and they could be kind of surly. Not too friendly possums, no. At least not the ones I've seen. So anyway, I just thought you'd like that. But yeah, Ed, the ghost, he and the ghost would just go bananas. And like I said, Ed would either be chasing his stick, the other end of his stick, or the ghost would be chasing him. And he'd be like looking over his shoulder, running. And then he'd chase her. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It was just sort of how things were, I guess. Oh, yeah. Lord's Prayer moment. Let's do one. Because lately I've been so busy at the supermarket, I don't really have time to knock out 2 videos. It's like, yeah, get them. I guess we got to get the Lord's Prayer moments in when I get a chance. Because it looks like I'm getting 1 video a day the way things are. So, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. So be it. And friends, there's a lot of good out there. A lot of people doing absolutely fantastic things with this pandemic and working hard to make things better. You might want to join up with them. Find something you like doing and get her done, to quote Larry the Cable Guy. Okay, there must be something you could do to help. And again, make things a little better. Okay, we'll see you. Bye now.